Okay, here we go again, making more scales for the dragon. Uh, and you can see my little pattern torch just kind of works away. Now, the thing is unlike the plasma tables that you see on other channels that cost 20 grand or whatever they cost, I have to babysit this one all the time. But hey, I don't mind. I'm an old guy. I can do that. Of course, we've sped this up about I don't know 10 times. It takes about 45 minutes to do one of those sheets. But out of that, I get about 60 or 70 chips, and that'll get me through a good day of welding chips on when the time comes. And the thing gets a little awkward at the end, so I just cut off the excess. All right, we're almost done. And now it's time to fish these babies out of the water and dry them off and get them all set up that way. There we go. And it takes a while to dry them because I have to put it on the wood stove and they sit there for 20 minutes or so. And I don't know what I'm going to do once it gets warm out and I can't crank up the wood stove anymore. But now I'm putting domes on them, just a slight dome, just to give it a little body. And now we're cranking up because we got, I don't know, a couple hundred to do. Okay, it's the next day, and we get to actually work on the dragon itself rather than spending the whole day making chips. So what I'm doing is just going in back and welding up joints that kind of got left open and strengthening up the entire dragon. Later on, I'll go inside and weld the inside. And I was just a bit sloppy on getting all of those joints together, so now I put the extra time in to kind of fill in the gaps by doing almost a spot weld. Weld for a second, wait for it to cool. Weld for a second, wait for it to cool. And that way, I don't have to be accurate with my cuts. Okay, finally I get to uh, put some scales on and make this thing longer, larger, uh, more complete. There's a lot of prep work in doing this, but hey, I'm having fun. And when I first started with the idea of making a dragon, and I ordered some eyes, which is basically a 3-inch sphere, and I had to wait for the eyes to show up. So I ended up making a bunch of scales, and as you can see here, they were round scales. Now, that works just fine, but to put that little tag on the bottom of it, the leg on the bottom, allows me to heat the, once the scale is in place, it allows me to go onto the inside, and I'll show you a little later, and heat that scale up, the tab part of it, and bend that tab over and attach it to the next scale, which gives it the strength that it needs for all these little dinky scales to kind of hang there for the next 30 years. So I found a bunch of these tabs. I probably had 200 or 300 of them, just the straight round ones. And I figured, well, come on, let's use them. So I put some in there, and then I realized, nah, this is too much hassle. But, we got some in there. And you see the little piece of wire rod that I have as a kind of a guide to, so that when the scales go down, I work my way toward that guide, and it's very helpful because otherwise I'm just putting scales on and I don't know where they're going to end up. Okay, well, let's just speed this up a little bit. Uh, it's boring enough to do it the first time. Uh, I don't want to bore myself again. But, it's boring work, but at the same time, I get to see this advance in the sculpture itself. And once in a while, I step back and I look and see what I've done. And here we get to see what happens pretty quickly because of this speed. But oh my God, no, no! I'm back to more scales. Please give me a break. What I like to do is do 2 or 3 rows and then go in on the inside, and you can see how the little legs of those tabs are kind of sticking up. So now I come in with the torch, and well, maybe I'm not going to come in with the torch. Oh, yeah, this is the round ones. I come in with the round ones and just add a segment to it rather than try to bend it over. But I fairly quickly I realized that's a pain in the ass, and forget it. I'm not doing it. Uh, so I did it to those dozen or so, and then later on come in and put in or and bend the tabs over. Okay, I got those all welded in. Now we come in and bend the tabs. And you can see that I heat it up and just roll it up against its neighbor. And the tab bending down creates just a bit of a triangulation, which makes the skin or the scales even stronger. All right, now we're going back in and welding all of those tabs to their neighbors. And it's an effort, but it makes it good and strong. It becomes almost a solid piece of material then. Now that everything's welded up, we're installing some struts to go from the center post out to maintain the shape. Otherwise, as it gets heavier and heavier, it'll start to sag. And I put one of these struts in about every, I don't know, foot or so, all the way around. Two or three go in the circumference. Okay, let's swing around to the other side and see what we can do about getting those tabs welded down. I spotted some up a little higher that I hadn't done. So I can do them, but it is a real pain to reach all the way in there and bend those tabs over. So better to do them prior to getting too far ahead of myself. I'm now coming back in. I spotted a couple that had gotten forgotten or bypassed, and just coming back and bringing those in a little bit further. Some of them a little further, some of them for the first time. But, just making it stronger. Reaching way up there to weld a couple that got skipped. That's not easy. Now we're going to take a measurement and slide another support in there, weld it in place, and everybody will be happy. Hope you enjoyed the guts part of this whole thing. Uh, we did make some advances, and see you next week or so.